I'm going to be comparing the Gerber Covert Auto, an automatic knife, and the Gerber Covert Fast, an assisted knife. The FAST stands for Forward Action Spring Technology. I'm just going to refer to it as FAST or assisted from here on out. I'm going to structure this video where if you're new to knives, it should be pretty informative, and if you've been in the knife game for a while, should at the very least be entertaining. The first knife I ever had was a Gerber Paraframe, a larger version of this mini right here. And I had that knife for 6 years, never sharpened it, abused it, and that knife was always there for me, never let me down. A year ago, I ended up doing research on knives, getting into knives. I ended up giving that Paraframe to a friend who needed a blade, and because it was so faithful to me, I was looking exclusively at Gerbers. This Gerber Covert Auto is the knife that jumped out at me. I didn't know too much about blades. I knew what serrations were, and that's about it. I wasn't taking blade steel, weight, anything like that into consideration. The reason this knife jumped out at me, it had this red dot safety, which I thought was pretty cool, and the overall tactical look. The downside to me at the time was this blade was $120. Now, compared to my $20 Paraframe, $120 was a lot. I was like, whoa, what if I lose it? What if I break it? So for half the price, at $60, there was the Gerber Covert Fast. Had a similar red dot safety and had the overall same tactical look that I liked. So I went the cheaper route and got the Fast at the time. Now, a point I want to make, I read it in YouTube comments. A guy said, whip out your blade and whip out your cell phone. And then in a few years, whip out that blade and whip out your cell phone. The point he made that I'm going to try and make right now is that you spend, I guess I spend, in my case, a couple $100 on cell phones every few years. And the technology becomes dated in just a few years. The operating system on the new iPhone 6s won't even run on the iPhone 3GS. So if you're going to spend a couple $100 on technology that becomes dated, why not spend, in my case, $100 for the blade that I thought was sexy and attractive? In your case, maybe the blade you find sexy and attractive is $200, $300. If you're going to, again, spend a couple $100 on technology that's going to be useless in a few years, go ahead and spend that money on a tool that will last you the rest of your life, as long as you maintain it, sharpen it, lubricate it, don't abuse it. So after I read that YouTube comment and after months of research, I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and get the knife I was originally attracted to, the Covert Auto. So that explains why I have both blades. I went the cheaper route originally. When I whipped it out, I was like, man, this is cool, but it is not the auto that I like. A little bit of history on these blades. Colonel Rex Applegate and design partner Fairbairn, they wanted a combat utility knife for their soldiers. And as far as I know, Randall Made Knives made a few prototypes of Applegate Fairbairn design similar to this spear point, only theirs were fixed blades. They weren't folders originally. So Randall Made Knives made a few, Almar made a few Applegate Fairbairn designs, Boker did as well, and when Gerber got a hold of it, as far as I know, we're the first to do the folding Applegate Fairbairn designs. There's two other Gerber Applegate Fairbairn designs I'm aware of. Let's say that you're in a state or city where automatics aren't legal. That kind of throws this one out the window for you. But for the sake of the video and comparison, I'm going to assume you're just here for entertainment, or you do live where you can get an automatic. But let's say that you can't get an automatic, but you like the style. The assisted is a very good option. But let's say you don't like assisted either. you don't like springs in your blades. I understand. The two other Gerber Applegate Fairbairn versions I was talking about, they make a larger 7 or 8 ounce combat folder, which is basically just a self-defense ass-kicking blade, and they make a smaller version called the Covert folder, which is very similar to these two blades in size and weight, but both the Covert folder and the combat folder are manual liner locks. And by liner locks, I mean, similar to this Kershaw Leak, they have the liners that you just push to the side, and that's the lock for that blade. And by manual, I mean they open at your discretion, like this right here. There's no spring to fling it open. With training and practice, you can open a manual just as fast, if not faster, than an automatic or assisted. It just takes training and practice with your blade. So that's an option. Again, if 1, you can't get an automatic, or 2, you just don't like assisted at all. So there's a lot of options and a lot of companies for this specific Applegate Fairbairn design. So jumping into blade, we got a spear point, which by philosophy is combat, self-defense, stabber, right? But a knife is a knife. You're going to be able to cut down boxes, open mail, everyday tasks you'll still be able to accomplish with this. But again, it's more of a stabber. My EDC, everyday carry, is this Boker AK-74. It has a drop point blade, which in my eyes is more of a cutter. But again, just the same as where with the spear points, you don't have to stab, you could still cut down boxes. Same goes for this knife. Even though it's more of a cutter, you could also stab. So again, a knife is a knife, but in my eyes, I prefer the drop point for EDC. Both these blades have serrations. I guess you could modify it, but speaking of modification, with a spear point like this, you may be tempted to sharpen this side, right? I mean, at first glance, you almost think it would be sharp, right? Double edge. Something I want to point out, with the larger combat folder that I mentioned, I've seen videos where guys do sharpen that, and it can be done even though it's a folder because the blade sits down in the handle so well. Well, bad news, guys. With the automatic, that blade is actually exposed. I think you can see that right there. So if you were to sharpen it, you would indeed cut yourself. I mean, I guess you can do what you want to do, man. If you feel like you're not going to cut yourself, again, I guess you still could close it because this portion of the blade wouldn't be sharp. You could still close it if it was sharp, if you did grind that top, but it's exposed, so I wouldn't advise it. If you want to do something like that, you could look into that self-defense ass-kicking combat folder. The smaller one, the Covert folder, the manual liner lock, I don't have that blade. I can't tell you. Same goes for the fast though. It does sit down in the handle more than the automatic actually, but trust me, that blade is still exposed. I can't really feel the top of the blade right here, but I'd say right here, from here on back, I can feel the top of that blade. So I would not advise grinding the top of the fast as well. Kind of a bummer. If you plan on doing that, I don't, so it doesn't really matter to me. Check this out, guys. 007. Y'all dig James Bond? I do. Pretty cool. Got that engraved. Moving on, steels. Again, I'm new to knives, even newer to sharpening. So the fast has 7CR17 MOV. The automatic has S30V. Knife guys will tell you they prefer S30V. It's a harder steel, harder to sharpen, but edge retention is better. So you would have to sharpen your 7CR17 MOV steel more to keep that edge up. But as far as the edge, again, me being a beginner, I'm not going to say S30V wins, because if you sharpen your 7CR17 MOV, it's going to be wicked sharp. So again, S30V, a lot of knife guys, steel guys will say they prefer that. Edge retention's better. 7CR17 MOV, sharpen it more, maintain it more, but it's still going to be sharp to me. You know, that's all up to you. How do you initiate that blade? How do you activate that blade? Well, with the fast being assisted, there's a thumb stud. Ambidextrous, you do it with both hands. Right there. What up? Finger got in the way. What up? So you could do that. The automatic, just push button. Not ambidextrous, but you could still do it because it's just a button. Deployment speeds. Well, I would say they're very similar. Hopefully I can do this without cutting my fingers open. Here we go. Man, this is nerve-wracking. I'll do it one more time, but basically I say they're very similar. Can't say one's faster than the other. Here we go. Oh man, this is really scary trying to do this. Oh, bummer. Here we go. You get the point. Pretty much similar. I mean, you can slow it down if you got the tech, but they're the same in my eyes. Let's move down to locking and safety. The automatic safety works as I think everyone would assume. Safety on, doesn't deploy. Safety off, deploys. This is what's cool. You can put the safety on when it's deployed, and it's not going to fold down on you. So if you are in a self-defense situation and you would need to somehow bring that safety off and then hit the plunge lock for it to fold in on you, whereas the fast is a little bit different, a little bit trickier. As far as activating the blade, it's similar. You know, safety on, not going to work. Safety off, it'll work. But the slide lock is connected to the safety, and I'll show you what I mean. So, or something else I want to point out. Putting on the safety is real easy. Look, I can do it with my finger now. Boom. But then it's a little more retention as far as taking it off. I can't do the finger now. It pops. See? So slide, pops. If it makes sense. So this is what I was going to show you. When you whip out the blade, you know, safety off, but watch this. The slide lock is connected to it. So when it locks in, the slide lock is connected to that safety. And I want to show you the slide lock. There's a little piece of metal on the blade. Hopefully I can show you. Right there. Do you see that little piece of metal on the blade? That is the slide lock. And I've read comments of people breaking that pretty easily. Compare that to the plunge lock on the automatic. We got that plunge lock. It's in the indent of the blade. You push it out of the way. Blade comes. See the indent in the blade? When that indent gets to the plunge lock, pops into that indent. And then again, closing it, push it out the way, slides on the blade till it gets to the next indent, pops in. So I would say plunge lock, more secure, better than the slide lock. I like how the safety works on the automatic over the fast as well, being that the slide lock's connected to the safety. I don't really dig that. On my EDC, again, Broker AK-74, I have two of them. Both of them sport plunge locks. I mean, pretty much identical, just the button protrudes a little bit more on the automatic. But as far as locking mechanisms, man, that's wicked fast. As far as locking mechanisms, both plunge locks work the same. So I've never had a plunge lock fail me. In the fast defense, never had a slide lock fail me, but I'm not exactly using it and abusing it. Comments I've definitely read where that fails. Moving down to handle, we got aluminum handle on the automatic. It's It's got these indentations for grip. Don't work all that well. My hands are sweaty because it's my first knife review comparison video. And you can see my hands are slipping over it. Whereas the Fast actually sports G10 handles. What? A cheaper knife with more material on it? What? I know, it doesn't make sense to me either. Maybe in the comments you can tell me why the Fast has G10 handles and the automatic doesn't have G10 handles. Doesn't make sense to me. Popular knife out there is a Kershaw Blur. Compare that G10. You can see where the G10 on the Kershaw Blur is definitely more aggressive than the G10 on the Fast. I mean, this is catches my thumb, gains traction, rips up my pants, not so much on the Fast. But compare the Fast to the automatic. I mean, that's G10, baby. That's just aluminum. I mean, doing this, I can, there's no way you can hear that, but it catches my thumb on the Fast and just not on the aluminum. I mean, it makes sense. Just real quickly, lanyard holes. The automatic has a bigger lanyard hole. You could probably get 550 cord through the automatic, not on the Fast. I don't use lanyards, but maybe you do. Jimping. Jimping on the tops of the blades are very similar, not very deep. Again, my hands are sweaty and you can see I'm rubbing my thumbs on them. So jimping is not the greatest on tops of the blades anyway. Compare it again to the Spyderco Manix 2. Jimping on this sucker is, you got it not only on the top but on the choil right here is gnarly. So let's compare that. You can see where it's deeper and more aggressive. I'm hoping you can kind of see. I really like the jimping on this bad boy. That is aggressive. Look, I'm trying to push my thumb up and it will not. I really dig the jimping on that bad boy. So, but, however, jimping on the handles, you can see on the automatic is a little bit sharper. So, where you lose points on the tops, not very grippy, the automatic makes up for it on the handles. I feel like when I grab it like that, index finger and thumb, I mean, look, you can see it's kind of, I mean, this is from using that thumb stud, my skin peeling off, flicking open the thumb stud so much, but it's really gripping, I really like the jimping on that handle, whereas on the Fast, it's kind of slippery. And again, just showing you how sharp and deeper it is on the automatic. Weight, automatic 4 ounces, Fast 5 ounces. Oh, who cares about an ounce? Well, if you're new to knives, probably don't care. Shit, even if you're not new to knives, you might not care about an ounce, but I'm telling you, in comparison, hand in hand, I can feel the ounce difference. In pocket, if you only have the Fast 5 ounce knife, I mean, probably not going to care, but it is a comparison video, and I'm comparing, and yes, I can feel the difference in the ounce. Where's that extra ounce come from? Well, on the blade you have thumb studs, right there, you can see that. There's the G10 material. The Fast has liners in it. The Fast has a huge ass backspacer that shouts Gerber. I would say that's what attributes to the extra ounce, guys, that right there. Pocket clips. Both deep pocket, and I really dig deep pocket clips. Real quickly, not really relevant, but back to my Kershaw leak, I bought this from eBay, deep pocket clip. And it's my gentleman's folder, wear it in my khakis to work. Completely hides the blade. I really like deep pocket clips. Real quick, back to my other EDC, Boker AK-74, also sports deep pocket clips. So yeah, it's pretty obvious I like deep pocket clips. However, on these deep pocket clips, you can see the automatic sits a little bit deeper. There's a little bit of the handle exposed on the fast, and I think you can clearly see that. So the knife will be more hidden if you go with the automatic. As far as how they look, I'd say this is kind of painted black, shouts Gerber. I think that's going to wear, that paint, whereas the automatic is a stone wash, discreetly states Gerber. Me personally, I prefer the stone wash. You may like the sleeker black though. I feel you on that. So, recap on these blades, guys. Which one's better? Well, I think from the start, I kind of stated my opinion. For me, just on looks alone, I prefer the automatic. It's kind of dumb to say, but it does have a brighter red dot safety, which again was one of my selling points. But then over the months, as I've done more research, you know, it has better steel. Again, I stated I don't really mind. You get 7CR17 MOV, you're going to sharpen it more, but it's still going to be wicked sharp. So it's more of a cool factor for me, being like, okay, so this has S30V, that's cool, knife guys dig it, you know? So steel, I can't say S30V wins, even though I think it kind of does, you know. But to me, personally, I don't care, so I can't say there's a winner there. Blade shapes, sizes, they're both 3 3/4 inch long. I mean, the same blades pretty much. Where they're made, the automatic is made in the USA, whereas the fast is made in China. Again, my Boker AKs, they're Taiwanese. I don't really care where they're made. For some people, I'm kind of the same for steel as where they're made. It has S30V, cool. I'm not like jumping over it. USA, same thing. Cool. It's cool it's made in the USA, but if this automatic was made in China, would it make the difference to me? Moving down, handle materials, I think I gotta give it to the fast, guys. It has G10. Again, you can make modifications, put some grip tape, something on the automatic. I'm not really one for modifications, but again, I'm really curious if you can leave a comment saying why the fast has G10 and the automatic doesn't. You know, maybe it's because G10 will wear and this will last longer because it's just not going to wear. I don't know. But it has more traction. However, jimping on the automatic, more aggressive. When you grab it and get that grip, you're going to have a better grip for the jimping. So even though it loses points for no G10, or loses grip points, it gains it back with the jimping. Safety and locks, automatic all the way. I mean, I'm just all the way. I prefer the plunge lock. I prefer the safety. I prefer the red dot, the brighter red dot. You can lock it just all the way automatic. I prefer it. Lanyard holes, automatic. Weight, automatic. Deep pocket clip, automatic. So yeah, guys, for me, comparing, the automatic wins. You live somewhere where the automatic isn't legal, the fast is still wicked, bros. You got that thumb stud, that's fun. I would say, even though the plunge lock wins over the slide lock, I would say I prefer thumb studs over push button. Got to give that to the fast too. Plus it has 007 engraved. What? Yeah, again, I got that engraved, so that's a selling point for you. Yeah, think about that. So, that's my first knife video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment. It was fun. I've learned a lot in the last year in knife research, and I really wanted to. I appreciate everyone who makes knife videos, whether they're 2 minutes long or 40 minutes long. I take something from each knife video, so I was really wanting to get my voice heard too. Get a piece of that pie, if you will. But I'm out.